Well, welcome to the Isthmian preview show, and we're back for the third week, and we've got some new guests with us as well, which is great, and they'll be joining us hopefully on a regular basis. But of course, as I can see it on my screen, to my left, evening Paul.
Evening Dave.
A good week?
It's not been too bad, tiring, but okay, mate.
And of course, joining us, well, in top left as I'm looking at it, a big welcome to Dean as well.
Welcome, Jed.
And of course, the Leiston. How do we say it then, Glenn? That's a big welcome to the legend himself, Glenn, as joining us as well. So, what is before we start with the rest of it? What is the official pronunciation of your old club? Leiston.
Leiston.
There we go, Leiston.
There you go.
Hope you got that right.
Well,
I definitely got it right.
I mean, well, it was when Mark Morsley used to come on the show as well, and he used to say to us, "Well, you keep getting it wrong, Dave. You keep getting it wrong." But I could never remember which way round he said it was, so we'll never get there. So I suppose some of the games we went through last week, then Paul and Glenn, Dean, we went through a couple from the Prem, couple from North and the South Central and the South East. And of course, the first game that we went through last week was Stalford versus AFC Hornchurch. That finished Stalford 1, AFC Hornchurch 0. Paul, you went for 2-1. Adam went for 3-2. I went for 1-1. So, congratulations, Paul. You opened up another lead. Enfield Town, probably a surprise result, I think, for us three when we went for the results last week. That finished 2-2. Paul went 3-1 to Enfield. Adam went 2-0 Enfield. I went 4-1 Enfield. So we came up dry on the second game. Also, we went for Grays against Tilbury. And it was Grays 3, Tilbury 2. Paul went for a 2-2 draw. Adam went for a 1-1 draw. And I went for a 2-0 win to Grays. So that helps me close the gap just a little bit. In the game between Canvey and Romford, Canvey finished up the game with a 2-0 win over Romford. Paul said 3-1 to Canvey. Adam went 1-0 Romford. I went 1-1 in the game. So another point there for Paul. Haywards Heath against Cray Wanderers. Haywards Heath 0, Cray Wanderers 1. We all went for a Cray win. But guys, did you actually see the Cray winning goal on Facebook or Twitter over the week or YouTube?
No, I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, no.
Keith McMahon said to me on the show before we went live on Monday, he said, come and have a look at this. He said they said it was a foul for the goal. Oh, dear me. The poor bloke from Haywards Heath got taken out. Literally, the ball's gone played forward. The referee's not blown up. The ball's gone straight up the top of this bloke's head, which was lying on the floor from the injury that he's got, and the bloke slotted it in the corner. It was just unbelievable. Ashford 2, Horsham 3. Paul went for a 2-1 win to Ashford. Adam went 0-0. I went for a 2-0 to Horsham. So a point for me and none for the others. Cheshunt against Chalfont St Peter finished 1-1. Paul went for a 2-2 draw. Me and Adam went for a Cheshunt win. So a point there again to Paul. And then Ware against Haywards Heath. Hayes and Yedding, sorry. Ware won Hayes and Yedding 3. Paul went for a 4-0 Hayes win. Adam went for a 2-1, and I went 3-1. So 2 for me and 1 for the boys. And then the final game, which was our star game last week. And was anybody surprised at how big the result was? I mean, Paul first. I mean, Basildon against Bowers and Pitsea, 4-0 to Bowers.
I wasn't surprised that Bowers won, but I was surprised at the amount of goals that were scored. And obviously things have unravelled a tad at Basildon since then. I just fancied Bowers. They look strong. They've got lots of experience of these situations at the moment. So no surprise in the result in terms of the win, but a definite surprise. 4-0.
God, was you Dean and Glenn? I mean, did you see the score? I mean, was you a bit surprised with the size?
Yeah. Quinton Monville scored 2 for Bowers, didn't he? He was with us at Wingate and Finchley last year. I know when he was at Billericay, he had a serious injury, and he sort of just got back to himself last year. Finished the season at Barking, and he's flying this year. So no, I'm pleased for him. He's a good lad, and he's a good player.
But it does seem a little bit like self-destruct button was hit straight after the game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
It all kicked off, didn't it?
it's like,
I think it was a little bit surprising, to be fair, when top teams play each other. You don't really get 4-0 wins, do you? So that must have been one team must have been very, very good, and one most probably weren't at the races. But like I said, I have had good things about Bowser. Even last year, very good side, but 4-0, that's a great result.
yeah, definitely, absolutely. Well, if we
The only thing you
Go on.
can possibly think, Dave, is that maybe they were told about the budget cut before the game. You never know.
possibly, yeah, maybe. But because it opens it up, because if that sort of budget cut, will they sort of fall away or not fall away? I suppose we'll only find that out in the coming weeks.
Yeah, look, I think the boys on tonight will back me up that unfortunately money rules, and the more money you pay, the more success you have. In general terms, you have the odd one or two that may be surprised, but money always talks, unfortunately. So I'll be intrigued to see what happens.
Absolutely.
I've been quite lucky. Well, at my time at Leyton, I've been lucky. They set a budget in place that they can sustain for a season. And Leyton have always sustained their budget from start to finish. And it's disappointing when you hear clubs who have to slash their budget, because you've got to have something in place over 5 years, and the budget is a big part of that. And I'm just surprised that other clubs, and I am surprised that budgets just get slashed, because I've never really been involved with a football club where budgets are just slashed at the drop of a hat, you know.
Yeah, so same here as both clubs I've been at, Chesney and Wolverhampton Abbey, good, bad, or indifferent budgets have always stayed the same. I think when you read the statement, the chairman talks about the budget was set on certain criteria. I don't think you can set it on certain criteria. You can't set it on hopefully having a good cup run. Set your budget if you have a good cup run, add a little bit extra to it.
I think it's what
Totally agree.
I think it's what Steve said. On Monday night. The chairman at Romford, he said surely Aki didn't, put in his budget they were going to get 70 grand for the match that they're going to be playing tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
But if we go into the first game then to look at tonight, and that is of course in the Prem, and that is Burgess Hill against Kingstonian. The form table for the last 5 games. I mean, Kingstonian beat Harlow 7-0 at home, drew 1-1 at home with Bedford Town, and then lost in the replay 3-2 away. They beat King Lewis, which was a great result, 2-1, and then they drew with the leaders Tonbridge 1-1. Burgess Hill, they lost at home to Wingate and Finchley. They then drew 0-0 at home to Dorking. They drew 1-1 with Worthing, and then went on to lose the replay 2-1, and then just recently beat, of course, in the last game, Margate away 3-2. And considering Burgess Hill have been struggling, there's some big names in there, isn't there? Wingate and Finchley, Dorking Wanderers, Worthing and Margate, and no disrespect, it's all right, they've lost 2 of those, but they only lost by the odd goal. I mean, that's it's shown a bit of form.
Yeah, Burgess Hill appointed their manager today, didn't they?
Yeah, they
manager
did.
today, was it?
Yeah, I think they've scored something like 13 goals and conceded 31, haven't they? In the league.
Yeah.
So I think you can see where the problems lie, can't you? If you're not scoring goals, you're not winning football matches. And obviously, when you're down there, everything seems to go against you. But I mean, I've come up against Burgess Hill over the last couple of years, and we went there last season. We got beat 2-1, and they were frightening at home. Really, really good. And then they came to our place, and we gave them a bit of a hiding. But they've been down there for a couple of seasons now, and hopefully the new manager coming in will be able to be given a little bit more money to try to take them away from this relegation fight they seem to be in year after year.
Well, they played each other 5 times in the last couple of seasons, and Kingstonian beat 1-2, Burgess Hill 1-2, and 1 draw. So not much between them.
Draw then.
I mean, Kingstonian have got some firepower, haven't they, as well? And they've got a good squad there together. And I think it's one of those things, for me, I was quite surprised that they weren't sort of up there fighting it out with maybe Tonbridge at the top with the amount of, decent players that they signed in pre-season.
I speak to Lee on a regular basis, and that front, when he signed them 2 boys in the summer, I mean, that's some statement to anybody else in the division, Theolopoulos and the boy Buchanan. But he's added that with good midfielders. But he's had a lot of injuries. You know, I mean, at one stage I think he had 9 of his first team squad out, and I think anybody who's got 9 players out of their first team squad are going to struggle. And I personally believe that they will definitely finish in that top 5. They'll finish in the playoffs. I think when he starts to get 1 or 2 more back, I think they will go on a run, and I think that I can only see that football club and Leeds team going in one direction.
A big club, aren't they, at this level? You know, they've been in and around it. I don't know what, they're 6 points off the playoffs at this early stage. I think we said last week or the week before, you look in 20 games and you'll see where it will really start to take shape. And who's going to stay there, who's going to drop down. And like you say, Kingstonian paying a lot of money out by all accounts. And, you know, it'll be good to see them go and kick on again and see if they can get into that next division, because they're a massive club.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So then, guys, what do we reckon the score is going to be on this one?
I fancy 3-1 Kingstonian on this one.
2-1 Kingstonian for me.
I'm going to go brave and go 4-0 Kingstonian. Sorry, Burgess Hill.
I think I'll go for the draw. I'll sit on the fence. I'll go for a 1-1. And one of the reasons is that I need the points. Okay, so the next one up then is Leatherhead against Margate. What do we think? Where do we think this one's going to go? Leatherhead surprised. I mean, they are struggling a little bit. I mean, they did lose a lot of players, pre-season as well. So,
I think it just shows what a good job he did last year. He's gone over to Concord now, isn't he? And managing over there, doing another good job. And I'd like to say, I just think it goes to show what a fantastic job he did last year. They've really struggled this year. They're not scoring a huge amount. They're not conceding a huge amount, to be fair. But Margate were a funny old club. 1 minute they got loads of money, next minute they got no money. Lovely setup over there. Good fan base that they get in as well. And again, they're sitting in and around that 6 points off the playoff, so you'd expect them to keep on. So I personally don't see much more than a Margate win.
I mean, looking at their Leatherhead anyway, therefore they've lost in the last 5. They've lost 2, drawn 3, scored 5, conceded 10. Leatherhead in the last 5. Anybody? I mean, what do you think about that one?
After you. Sorry.
No.
I just said that literally they scored 5 and conceded 10 in the last 5 games. Are we all still there? Are we all still there, guys, or are we struggling?
I really do.
There we go. That's right. We've got you back now. We lost you there for a bit, but so I mean, go back to what the original question I asked? 5 against 10. I mean, what do you feel about that?
I think when you're down, like I said, it's a little bit like the Burgess Hill. You know, when you're at the wrong end of the table, it's because of the goals you concede. You know, and again, when you look at the difference between what Burgess Hill had conceded to what Leatherhead had, I think there is quite a difference. I think Leatherhead had conceded something like 15 goals in 10 games, is it? Mm-hmm. I think they've got games in hand down the bottom there. And again, Sammy Moore done a great job there last year, but, he's moved on and took half of the squad, and they've had to regroup. And I'm sure Nicky's most probably looking at that. He's trying to find out what he's got within the club itself with their youth set up. Obviously, that went down the road with Sammy Moore as well. So it's a football club that's rebuilding. And like I said, I like Leatherhead. I think their supporters are fantastic. And I made some good friends when I took Leiston down there a couple of times. And I, for one, really hope they get out of this mess they're in at the moment. And the only way is up. And like I say, I hope they get a win Saturday so they can start pulling away from the bottom.
Well, I've just looked at the next fixtures and they've got... they're not healthy, put it that way. I mean, they're home to Margate, then home to Kingstonian, then home to Enfield Town, then they're away, home to Burgess Hill, then away to Tonbridge, and then at home to Corinthian Casuals. That's the.
I think. Yeah, I think when you're up against it, that's where you see what you've got, and actually sometimes you get the best out of your players when you're least expecting it. Through my experience, anyway, you look at fixtures and think, "Blimey, where are we going to get points from there?" And all of a sudden, you pick up more points out of them games than you do out of the ones you think you would win. And again, when you look like you just said, you look at it, they've got 4-5 games down on everyone, so it's actually not as bad as it looks at the moment.
Have you seen much of them, Dean?
Not this season. I saw obviously Margate and Leatherhead a lot last season, being at Wingate with Keith and Richie and stuff. So obviously Leatherhead had to start again with Sammy going to Concord, and then Margate have changed things around a bit as well, haven't they? So two big clubs at that level of football, and it should be a good game tomorrow.
So what we're going to go with this one then? Shall I start? I'll start this time then. So I reckon we're probably looking at a 2-1 Margate win. Paul?
I fancy Margate 1-0.
I'll be fair, I was going to go 2-1 Margate, so I'll stick with that.
2-1 Leatherhead.
Oh, he's going for the point.
Going bold.
I'm going to all the Leatherhead fans out there, I've got your back, I promise you. 2-1 Leatherhead. Good luck, guys. I mean that.
Yeah. Well, this one is probably. I would say this one's probably close to being game of the weekend, if I'm honest, because of what it's about. We move into the North Division. Soundtown Rangers against Whittam, early 6-pointer. I mean, poor old James is going to be probably watching this on his Twitter feed, I expect. But it's definitely going to be a real sort of humdinger of a game and a real sort of early 6-pointer where the two teams are bottom and bottom at one.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at so. I might say they didn't have a too bad season last season. I know they've always struggled a bit with recruitment because they've got so many big clubs around them. I'm really, really surprised. I know he gets frustrated over there when you read his Twitter feed. Whittam, yeah, it's a difficult one. Adam went to Stalford and they've really struggled. He took a few with him. And yeah, they've really struggled, but it looks like it could be a massive game. You'd think hopefully they'll get a big crowd in and difficult one to call, mate.
Glenn or Dean, any ideas on these?
I'm going to go with my old club. I'm going to go with Whittam Town. I played for him many years ago, and I'd like to see him get out of trouble. But it's a club that seems to go up and down like a yo-yo. Yeah. I mean, even when we were there, we're going back to the Ryman days. One minute we're looking at promotion, and we had to get 2 turnstiles put in. They would put the 2 turnstiles in, so we didn't get the ground grading to go up. And then the next minute, the chairman's pulled the budget, and then Whittam was sort of like playing close to Essex senior football, and then they're back in the Bostik North doing well last year. Then you look at them again now, and they're sitting second from bottom with 5 points from 10 games, and it don't look good for them at the moment.
Dave, have you seen either of these two teams?
Nah, not this season, to be honest with you. But I've got good memories from Whittam last year, where when I was at Wingate, the 23s won the league there, and I made my debut for Ware at Whittam as well. So yeah, I'll go for Whittam for this one.
So the form table for them, start with Whittam. They lost 1-0 away to Morden. They beat Dunstable 1-0 away. They lost 2-1 to Great Wakering. They lost 2-1 to Herne Bay, and they drew their last game last Friday 1-1 against Haybridge. Soundtown Rangers lost 4-1 away to Brentwood, 0-0 with AFC Mansfield. Then they lost 2-1 in the replay. They lost 2-1 at home to Soundtown Rangers. To Grays, should I say, sorry. And then they lost 1-0 to Morden. So although they're losing, they're not actually losing by hatfuls. They're only losing by the odd goal all the time. Both sides.
Yeah, so it's a tight division, Dave. We spoke about it a few times. It always has been. I don't think anybody particularly gets a good hiding in that league. So it's definitely a difficult one to call. For me, I'm going to go 2-1 Soham. 2-1
Soham. Just so you know, before the other two guys give it, they're head-to-head. They played 5 times in the last 5 years. 3 draws and a win each.
3-2 Whittam. 3-2 Whittam for me.
1-0 Whittam.
Both defences are not great. Let's see some goals.
I'm going. I'm going for a stalemate. Let's go 0-0.
I won't go to that game.
You're probably sitting on the fence tonight.
You're not wrong.
So the next one, of course, is the ever-improving Heybridge Swifts. I mean, Julian's gone in there and they seem to be absolutely flying since the change of manager and him going in there. And, of course, this weekend they're up against another team with a newish manager in Canby Island. And it sounds to me like it could be two teams that you'd expect to be in the playoffs come the end of the season.
You'd expect so. It's a lovely setup of both clubs. Both got good pitches, decent crowds getting in. I think Heybridge are now starting to attract quite a few more people with the Julian Dix factor. And they're winning, aren't they? I don't think he's lost yet, has he?
No, I think he drew the other night, didn't he, against Whittam? That was the first non-win, I think. Yeah,
so, I mean, it's Canvey are a strange club. I think we spoke about them again as well last week or the week before. Massive club at this in non-league. It should really be doing better than what they are, but you don't know the circumstances behind why they are where they're. Again, it'll probably come down to money again. The Heybridge looks strong. There's not a lot between 3 points between them. Again, another difficult one to call, mate.
Dean or Glenn, any ideas with this one?
I think the momentum's with Heybridge. I think I would swing towards Heybridge. I think he's won, like you said, won 4 before the draw the other night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did he win his first 4 games in charge? Yeah, and I think with Julian, I think the one thing he will demand is professionalism, and you can guarantee his sides are going to be hard working. They're not going to be afraid to put the foot in when they have to put the foot in, but I'm sure they'll get the ball down and play as well. He's got some decent players there. Jody left him with a decent squad. I'm not too sure how many of those players have left. But, he's gone in and he's had a great start. And I don't know too much about Canvey since they got relegated from the Prem. I know they've had a managerial change, and I think he's moved upstairs. Did he move upstairs?
He did, yes.
The manager who was there previous?
Upstairs, yeah.
They lost in the playoff final last year, didn't they, Canby?
Yeah. They lost to... did they lose to...
Haringey.
The Haringey semi-final, didn't they? Yeah,
so I haven't really seen too much. I haven't really seen too much of Canvey since they got relegated from the Prem. But they're up there, aren't they? They're at the right end of the table again. And I think, like I say, this one could be enough. I know we've got Whittam and Soham at the wrong end of the table, but this one up the top end could be a cracker.
Absolutely. Well, their last fight in the form for them, Heybridge, beat Bury 2-0, beat Brentwood 3-1, beat Felixstowe 4-2. They drew 1-1 with Whittam. And then in the Essex Cup during the week, they drew 1-1 with Dagenham and Redbridge away, and then beat them 2-1 on penalties.
Yeah, great result.
So even in that sort of competition, he's still sort of getting the wins. So
they're always lovely games to play in. I think I took a side with Wolverhampton Abbey to Dagenham and Redbridge, and it was a good occasion, and the players seemed to work that little bit harder, playing on a decent surface. I think I took the Wolverhampton Abbey side at Southend, and we played them. So you get a lift, don't you, from your players when you're going and playing at pro clubs or decent surfaces, decent stadiums. So fair play to them, mate. It's a fantastic result.
And as you just said there,
next round. Yeah, we played Chelsea pre-season, so yes, the boys certainly up their game for them ones, don't they?
Well, a bit of top trumps there. Did you notice that? You mentioned Southend and then go straight in with Chelsea. But
yeah, why not? And we beat them.
You have that one, mate.
And as you just said, next round in the Essex Cup is Wolverhampton Abbey Southend, so that'll be interesting as well. So what are we going for then in this game?
2-0 Heybridge.
I'll go 3-1 Heybridge.
I'm going to go 2-1 Canvey.
Oh, he's going for the points.
Said about Julian, change his mind.
I go 3-0 to Heybridge, I think, for me.
Not another 0-0, no?
No, 3-0. 3-0. I bet Julian, I'm only going 3-0.
I wouldn't want to be your bet accumulator for both teams to score, by the way, Dave. Oh, dear. How many more nils do you want in there?
Although saying that, I did win a nice one on Sky Bet during the week, but anyway, that's not the point. So the next one then,
We're not allowed to bet.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I can now.
we're going to one of your old sides, Paul. Next one up, Hanwell versus Cheshunt. Hanwell Town versus Cheshunt. What do we think with this one? Hanwell going well, as Keith said, probably got one of the nicest pitches he knows, and going up against a Cheshunt side that is very, very strong.
Yeah, I mean, Hanwell, from, again, listening to Keith, really, they're a big, strong, physical side. From what I know, Cheshunt are very similar now. A big, strong, experienced side. So again, it's another cracking game. Cheshunt they'll go there, they'll try to play, they'll try and play on the front foot, and I'm sure Hanwell will do the same thing. Fantastic surface over there, making great strides. So yeah, again, mate, it's another difficult one to call. Another difficult one.
Yeah, Chris and Wayne are doing a great job at Hanwell, to be fair. Like last year at the start, they were they played the first 10 games and lost their first 10 last year. So they recovered well, and obviously, yeah, I'm pleased. I know Chris obviously really well, so I'm pleased for him and what they're doing so far.
And of course, Craig down at Cheshunt, he's a bit of a character, shall we say?
We actually, is that Craig Edwards, I presume we're talking about, yeah. Yeah, we had 2 games against him in the FA Cup this year, and we beat him in a replay at our place. But yeah, great character, good for the game.
Well said, Glenn.
That's all I dare say.
Got a mean right hand by all accounts as well. But
it's great. Craig's a lovely fellow. He'll help as many people as he can. Always has done, and helped me when I was at Cheshunt, when I was at Wolverham Abbey. It's lovely to see him still going and still going strong.
Absolutely. And if you want a cup of tea and a slice of cake, you can go down to his tea rooms as well. So you're laughing.
Yeah.
But Cheshunt's last 5 games, they beat Averley, and Averley had a strong side out that night, and Cheshunt had some of their second string out, and they beat Averley 4-0 away on that night. They beat Tooting and Mitcham 3-0. They drew 0-0 with Marlow. They beat Brentwood 2-1. And then last week, as we said earlier on, they drew 1-1 with Shalford and St Peter. They've scored 10 and conceded 2 in their last 5. So it's going to be a tough day for Hanwell, do you think, or not? Or do you think Hanwell might get something out of it?
I think Hanwell look a strong side. I just think it'd be a very close one. I don't think there'll be many goals in it.
What, 0-0?
No, I'm not that. I'm not going to sit on your fence. I think for me, I'm going to go 1-0 Hanwell.
2-2.
I'm going 1-0.
Everybody's on the fence. I'm going to go 2-1 to Cheshunt. For me. Well, one of your old sides, or very old, sort of old new side as such, because only just recent, but Bedford Sports against Northwood. What do we reckon?
It's been cancelled, mate. It's been cancelled.
It's been cancelled?
Yeah, because 2 of the Northwood boys are in the Falkland Islands.
Ah. So tell us about that. But the players are yours, or?
Yeah. So they've gone over to the Falkland Islands. They went on Wednesday. So I think the league cancelled it because they had 2 players playing in the game.
Is that going what with England C?
Yeah, an FA 11, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I went to watch Northwood down at Felixstowe, and I bumped into Dana down there. And I'll tell you what, the football Northwood played that night was a credit to that side. They were young, had energy, always positive, missed chances, really put Felixstowe on the back foot first half. And you wouldn't have, like I said, with Northwood, I was impressed, the 9, the boy up front, the little 8. They got around Felixstowe and they really gave Felixstowe a good seeing over at times, and then obviously missed chances. And I didn't stay to the end, so I do apologise, mate. But from what I saw, credit to you. I thought your Northwood side got the ball down and played with positivity, and I thought they were excellent on the eye.
Mm. Anybody seen Bedford Sports this year?
Yeah, well, I've seen a few videos and stuff. I know they had think it was Hartford beaten 5-4. They've obviously, I think the last couple of weeks they've improved, and obviously, they've got out of the sort of the bottom bit. But there's a few teams in Northwood's league that have changed managers, and obviously like even Moseley won last week. So there's a few teams who maybe 2-3 weeks ago you thought would be near the bottom, and they've picked up a few wins recently as well.
Well, I'm going down to Cheshunt in a couple of weeks' time to watch them play Bedford Sports. I'm quite looking forward to that. So that's a company thing that I've got to go down with because we're connected with Cheshunt at the co-op. So, but I'm looking forward to going down to see Bedford Sports because looking at some of the results, looking at where they are on the table, they're looking exciting side.
Yeah, I've not seen them. They concede a lot of goals at least. They conceded 28 in the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's I haven't seen them, but is that what we see? It's the bits and bobs league we call it, don't we?
Yeah.
So
the jigsaw league.
They're kind of thrown ever and hoping for the best. Everybody's just finding everybody out. I mean, Dan, you've been involved in it this year. It's a difficult one. As nice as it is going up against teams that you don't know, or players you don't know, or you've not seen before, it's also nice having that comfort. You have half an idea of what they're going to do. So, I think they're just all figuring each other out, and eventually it will start to mould itself out.
Yeah, my last game, league game at Northwood, we were 2-0 up. South Park sacked their manager during the week. Got in a caretaker manager, and they come back. They deserved to come back to 2-2. But I think like if we'd have won that game, we'd have been fourth. And then because we drew it, we ended up being eighth. So it just shows you like the league hasn't sort of taken care. But I think the sort of the top teams in that league, Hayes and Yeddings, best team we played when I was there was Bracknell Town.
But that's the only league, and I know Keith says that we said the same on Monday. There seems to be quite a bit of a gap now between the playoff sides and the teams below. There seems to be like the might of the likes of Marlow, Waltham Abbey, Cheshunt and Bracknell, Hayes and Yedding, Marlow. They're all up there, and it's a real battle between those sort of 5 or 6 more than other teams with a chance at this present minute in time of getting in there.
Yeah, I mean Bracknell were really good. Obviously, they play on the Astro as well, but they were the best team by miles that we've seen so far. There's no surprise that a few clubs are sniffing after their players this week, by the sounds of it.
Well, this go on, mate.
Long season. It's a long season.
Yeah.
And the boys will back me up on that. You think you're in it, you think you're pulling away, then all of a sudden someone comes from nowhere and puts a few wins together and puts the pressure on you. So it's a long season. As I said earlier, 20 games. I think we'll have a decent idea, but at the moment it's still very up in the air.
Well, let's move on to the next one then. Sevenoaks versus Phoenix Sports. Phoenix probably just signed Alex Teniola as well. And he went on and scored the equaliser the other day in his first game for them. But Phoenix, really nice people there. It looked like they've got a strong squad and seem to be pulling it a bit together at the time being. So, I mean, Sevenoaks as well, decent outfit. I mean, where do you see this one?
Phoenix, they've had a great start, haven't they? It's a lovely club, lovely setup. Again, nice pitch, nice people. Alex Teniola going over there. Strange player, mate. You had him at Aveley, didn't you?
Yeah, brilliant. I thought he was. I really enjoyed watching him play. I thought he was a really good player, really strong player. And he scored loads of goals for us last year, and then really didn't get too much of a sniff this year. To be really honest with you, he was on the bench quite a lot of the time.
I tried to sign him at Cheshunt, but it was very difficult when you got someone like Jason Elliott up there trying to convince another forward to come in.
Yeah,
it's not easy because they believe he'll play every week. Which, in fairness, he's banged in 125, 130 goals in the 4 seasons he's been at Cheshunt. So, but he just seems to go places, bang loads of goals in, and then he's somewhere else again. Phoenix looking strong. Sevenoaks game in hand on them, 6 points off them. All of a sudden that gap will start to close up again if they win Saturday. So, again, the games you've picked, mate, are all going to be very close, aren't they? Top or bottom.
What do we think, guys? Dean, Glenn, I mean, do you see much of either side?
No, I haven't, to be honest with you. No.
I mean, Phoenix. The Phoenix. You go to Phoenix, and I remember going there one time. I did go there, and it was. They just seem to be such a welcoming club. And I know last year on the show we said about Milden Hall, and we said that they were probably the best club for welcoming people, the away side. But Phoenix, I think, have got to be up there as well. If you've ever been to Phoenix, there's a real sort of, really, really lovely bunch of people in there, including the chairman, Andy Mortlock as well. They just seem to be run absolutely superbly.
Yeah, like I said, when I've been there, they've been great. The supporters give you some stick, to be fair, during the game. They'll mix it with the best of you, but then they'll shake you around after. And that's what football's about. Once it's finished on the pitch, it's done, it's dusted, and you shake hands and have a beer in a bar after. So it's a fantastic club. It's great to see them doing so well. And obviously their gesture, which we spoke about with the Thamesmead guys, speaks volumes on what they are and what they stand for.
And by the way, he didn't turn up, by the way. Just so you know.
He didn't?
He didn't, no.
He made a good decision there, mate, to be fair.
I don't know if Dean and Glenn know what we're even talking about there.
No, mate.
No, right. So basically, the Thamesmead chairman who folded the club for ill health, then folded the club, and then a few days later turned up at Ramsgate and took over at Ramsgate. Which caused a load of, as you can imagine, grief and whatever. And then what happened was Phoenix then decided to take on a couple of the directors and stuff of Thamesmead into their club after our show not last Monday before. And the first game up after that was Phoenix against Ramsgate. So they were just wondering whether or not he was actually going to turn up, which he didn't. He didn't actually turn up. So that's what that was. It was all about. Because if you'd had turned up, I think I'd like to have been in the boardroom.
Non-league politics, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. But where do we see this game then? I'm going 2-1 Seven Oaks.
I know either side, so I'm just going to go for a 1-1.
A 1-1.
Yeah, I'll go with Glenn. 1-1.
2-1.
2-1 what, so Paul?
2-1 Phoenix.
2-1 Phoenix.
Yeah, you lot are all sitting on that fence together.
There's plenty of room.
Ramsgate versus Hive. Where do we see this one? We're all going to say we don't.
I don't know nothing about either side.
I know Hive are third in the league.
Yeah. I don't know either side again, mate. Never played, never been to either grounds. I'm just going to throw it in there and go 3-1 Hive.
I'm going to go 2-0 Hive because they're third.
Yeah, I'll go 2-1 Hive.
So 2-1 Hive, yeah.
Here comes a 0-0.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right, here we go. So this is Ramsgate's form. So Ramsgate's form, they beat Phoenix Sports 1-0. They then lost 2-1. So they beat Greenwich Borough 2-1. They lost to Hornchurch 6-0 away. They drew 0-0 with Horsham, and then they drew the last game out with Phoenix Sports by one each. Shall we go?
Hat-trick of draws, Dave.
Yeah, I know. It's a hat-trick draw. Shall we go draw? No, we'll go 2-1 as well to Hive, I think. So going on to the FA Trophy. I suppose one of the first questions: which club do you feel from the Isthmian League will end up going the furthest in the FA Trophy? I mean, who do you see being the team that might come out of the pack to go the furthest?
Dorking have got to be up there. I think Dorking with their squad. I mean, he's got money at his helm to bring in players and strengthen. Yeah, it's a toughie really. Like I say, I haven't really, since I left Leyton, I haven't really kept my eye on what's really gone on. I've gone and done a bit of fishing and bits and pieces, so I haven't really followed so much of the football. But I think Dorking being in there, I think with his finances, he could definitely bring people in to take him further if need be.
Paul?
Yeah, I think looking at it, whoever wins that game, really, to be honest, we the ones that will kick on. They're both right up there, and they've got your mate, haven't they, Tunbridge?
They have indeed, yeah.
The machine, as you call him.
Yeah.
He scores goals for fun, doesn't he? So I think whoever comes out of this one will be the ones that will progress.
Yeah, I think Tunbridge. I don't really see it being an upset. You look at the league, the top two teams in the division, and I think Tunbridge Angels away from home. I mean, Steve McQueen's got his side bang on. You know, I mean, I've had some real tough games against Tunbridge in the 2 years I was at Isthmian, and he set his stall out. You know, he knows the game inside out. He sets up a positive team. So Dorking won't have it all their own way there tomorrow. And like I say, I can honestly see. Like, I think I agree with yourselves. Whoever do get through this game, I think could go quite a way in the competition. But like I said, I'll be rooting for my mate Steve tomorrow, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that they can get a result.
Well, I'm going Averley.
Oh yeah. Shock.
Just thought I'd throw that one in there.
Well, there at the moment, isn't he, James? He's got them right up in the top of the league, and and they're doing well in the trophy. So fair play to him. He's done a good job wherever he's been.
Although saying that, I know that there's quite a few missing tomorrow, so I know that. I mean, Alex Acoffey's out because of a red card, and so is James Love's out as well.
I thought
I'd just give you a few of those in first, yeah?
Tom Richardson's available, isn't he?
He is indeed, yeah, so he'll be...
He don't score goals, do he?
No, he'll be great all over the place. So let's have a look at our first game for the trophy then. Brightlingsea against AFC Hornchurch. Brightlingsea, looking at the last few games... they drew 0-0 away to Enfield Town. They beat Harlow 1-0. They beat Canvey Island 1-0, both away. They then lost 2-0 at home to Carshalton. And then during the week in the Essex Cup, they lost 2-0 away to Bowes and Pitsea.
They've just made a great signing this week, haven't they? Aaron Condon's gone back with Billy Hunt up front. I mean, they don't really change the system too much, do they? They go 4-3-3, just hit the diags. And getting behind people, and I think Aaron Condon going back will add goals. And yeah, Tom's done very, very well there with a very limited budget, very limited resources, and I think, I think it's going to be a toughie for them tomorrow. But I wish them luck and hope they'll get them through.
Well, I think another one we was just saying about with the likes of Phoenix, and I think Brightlingsea yet again have got to be another one of those clubs that are they're backroom people. They're the chairman. I mean, if the old saying, if Carlsberg did chairman, I think you'd see a picture of the chairman down there at Brightlingsea next to it.
Brilliant, yeah. And very good.
Even going back to a couple of seasons ago when I was at Harlow, I know there was a situation where they went to Brightlingsea. The game got called off because the floodlights failed. No fault of his own, etc., etc. They then did the replay and he let everybody in for free. Do you know what I mean? And you wouldn't get many clubs go and do something like that. So
we went there last season. We won 1-0, and the home supporters actually clapped my players off. And that's the quality that they actually possess within their football club. They're nice people, and they come out with some great songs like "Up the R's" and things like that. That was ours, by the way, and they have great banter, and they make it a friendly place to want to go. And I went and watched Leatherhead play there last year because we were watching Leatherheads. And people want to talk to you, and they want to give you their time. And lovely football club. And like you said, I think with the chairman and the people behind the scenes there, they're doing a fantastic job to keep competing at this level with the resources that they've actually got.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Brightlingsea a few times. I was lucky enough to be there when they won the league because they were playing Rockford, and we were just up at Clacton, and we just popped in there just to see the game and saw them win that. And I do remember one instance there where they were playing Harlow. And we were sitting in one of the stands there, and it just felt like an old-fashioned world of sport wrestling. There was like all these little old ladies standing behind the back of you, screaming, shouting, and all the rest of it. And it just felt like they're going to throw their handbag at you. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely top class.
We went there on a Tuesday night last year with Wingate. We've only just got home, I think.
I come and watch that. Actually, I come and watch that game. I can't remember the final score. I come and watch
1-0. Tom Richardson scored.
That's cheers.
Yeah,
I came and watched there. I did come and watch that game.
I think we got there 7:30, and the ref said, kick off in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. Because you were going for the playoffs. You were going for the playoffs again last year.
Yeah, that was our first defeat in. I think it was like first defeat in 10 games or whatever. And we lost Spencer McCall after that game. Who was a big player for us.
Yeah, you look at the job that you guys done at Wingate. Wow, making the playoffs again on a limited budget. So it just goes to show it's not all about budgets. It's about getting your backside off your seat, going out there and looking for talent that don't cost you a lot of money, because there's a lot of players out there. And I think Brighton and Sea are one of these clubs who do bring youngsters through and give youngsters a chance. And I think that's the only way forward for any football club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. That's all I've ever tried. No, Dean does the same thing. Is give young players the chance to go and play and express themselves. And we've spoken about it again before, Dave, where clubs have to have a little bit of patience with people. It's a non-league football club. And when there isn't huge amounts of money to be thrown at it, you need to try and bring players through. And I just think it's gone a little bit mad. I mean, Dean, I don't understand. I don't know the reasons. I don't know the thing behind it. How you're not at that football club still, I don't know. Same with yourself. What a great job you did last year, Glenn. Fantastic job, and you guys should still be managing. But there's no patience anymore. And
I think what it is, mate. I mean, it's like with us. The infrastructure at Leiston was non-existent. So, when we took over, we had an under-18s, which was a park side, a reserve side that finished bottom of the league, and the first team, and it was all about the first team. When I left, we got an under-14s, we got an under-15s, got an under-16s, 18s, reserves, and a first team. So, and I most probably gave debuts to most probably about 15 between 16 and 20 step-free football, give them their debuts. And I see the other night, some of them boys playing against Lowestoft the other night, and that makes you feel proud, because you've got to have a philosophy that you believe in. The unfortunate thing is, not the unfortunate thing for me, but the unfortunate things for a lot of football clubs out there, chairmen don't buy into what should be at a football club. I think they look at it, and when the first team manager loses 4 or 5 games, he's under pressure. But if you're put an infrastructure in place where you're going to bring kids through a system, then I just think the pitch has got to be bigger with chairmen of football clubs. Give us 5 years to build, and if we ain't done the things over 5 years, I'm not just talking about your first team, your reserves and under-18s. Let's see how far we come as a club. And my slogan was #We are a club, because when I took over at Leiston, we were a football team and a first team. And I just think so many chairmen, we have managers meetings, don't we? There should be chairmen's meetings, and the chairmen who believe in the philosophy, should talk to these other chairmen who just want a quick fix. And football's not like that. And I go to Billericay, and I will just touch on Billericay. I know people have slated Billericay in the past and everything else. But you look what they do with the women's team, and now they've got kids teams coming through, the under-23s and things. They're trying to build a football club. Yes, we know the first team's got a ridiculous budget and he can have players from higher levels, but he's still trying to build a football club. And I think there's too many chairmen out there, mate, who just want a quick fix.
Yeah. And like Paul said about budgets and stuff like that, we had a boy, James, who scored 20 goals this season already. And like with us, he was on peanuts, and suddenly, obviously, like the bigger clubs come in, and he scored 3 hat-tricks for Walton Casuals already this season since he's gone there. So you're talking about a boy who I sort of no one would really touch him. He's had a little taste of step 4 and that before, but no one would touch him in the summer. And now suddenly he's got 30 goals this season already, and everyone's talking about him. But if you're at a club with hardly any budget and stuff, you just can't keep hold of those players.
Yeah, well, we haven't spoke too much about AFC Hornchurch and Jim coming back and all this. I mean, they seem to be a decent outfit. I mean, I saw in the betting, at the beginning of the season, they were actually down as favourites to win the league early doors. So, I mean, how do you think? Is it great? I mean, you guys must be, over the moon to see Jim back, back in football himself after his illness during last season.
Yeah. There's a big gulf between the North and Step 3. The gulf when you come up, for people to make Hornchurch favourites, to overlook clubs like Kingstonians, Tunbridge Angels, Margate, Dorking. These are big football clubs with big budgets and in areas where they can pull players from all over the place. And I think, I'm not, who else came up with Hornchurch? Haringey came up last year with Hornchurch, and who was the other?
Potters Bar Town.
Yeah, Potters Bar.
Yeah, and like I said, you look at one of the teams who, you look at Haringey, they had a flying start. Now all of a sudden, they're most probably playing at those quality top teams, and the golf
They've got to be a
between
catch up because of the FA Cup as well, haven't they?
yeah, they have. But I think the golf between the North and the Prem is miles apart.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, him, but great fella, Mr. Hornchurch, and it was awful to see what happened to him. But look, he's a big, strong man, and if there was anyone ever going to get through that, it was Jim. So it's lovely to see him back. And I think they've started the season really, really well. I don't think for me that you could ever put them down as favourites, as you say. I think you've got to look at it and go, do you know what? Mid-table, fantastic. What a great season that would be to finish mid-table in that league and then look to kick on after that.
Well, the last 5 times they've played each other, it's been 1 win each and 3 draws. So where are we going with this one? I'm going 3-1 Brighton C.
6-0. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton C.
I'm going to go for a 1-1.
1-0 Hornchurch.
There you go. So I suppose
cheeky away win.
So moving on to our star game, we spoke a little bit about it, but it's got to be. I mean, I looked at this game when I was going through the trophy, and it just looks like an absolute humdinger, doesn't it? Dorking against Tonbridge. I mean, if you're going to go and watch a game at the weekend and you're a neutral, possibly this might be the one you'd want to pick.
Yeah. Like I said, I touched on Steve McQuinn earlier. Steve will have his troops raring to go there. I've had some battles with Mark White. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but he's a very, very passionate guy. And so is Steve. So not only would it be a little bit of a humdinger on the pitch, I think it might be one off it as well. So it'll definitely be a game worth going to. And you look at, I've just got the league up in front of me. Dorking played 14, scored 24, conceded 11. Tunbridge Angels 14, scored 22, conceded 10. So there's not a lot between the two teams, but like I said, I think when you've got the boy Pryor up front for Dorking and that boy Moore, they've got quality in their side. But we all know that Jake Reed on his day, Alex Reed on his day, I've got my Leiston head on, I do apologise. Reedy on his day for Tunbridge scores goals. So yeah, this is a tough one to call. I reckon it'll be a cracker of a game.
Yeah, when we spoke to Mark last year when he was at Dorking and stuff, he was good as gold with us, and he don't try and hide they've got a decent budget. You do get people with big budgets and they pretend they got nothing and all that. He just tells you straight how it is. And from my experience with him, he's good as gold, and obviously I wish him well this season.
Yeah, it'd be a big old crowd in, you would have thought. I don't
know. They're still at the old. Are they still at the old ground? Are they at the new ground now?
They're at the new
ground.
Yeah.
They're at the new ground, are they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the gates and what they've been averaging, but like I said, I think Tunbridge will take a few. Yeah,
this is again another proper football club, isn't it? When we was in the Prem with Wolverhampton Abbey all those years ago, it was a tough place to go. Really, really tough place to go. Lovely ground, again, decent pitch and all of that. But I watched Dorking early on. They played Stortford, and I was going in expecting them to be very, very, very good. First 10 minutes, they looked like they were going to pull Stortford all over the place. Went 1-0 up very early, and then they kind of just died a death. I think the manager was. I'm sure he had a stadium ban. So he wasn't there. Maybe that plays a factor to listening to you guys and how passionate he is. But I was really disappointed with him after the first 10 minutes. Obviously not seen him since, but I found the game very slow.
Dorking at home
Pryor's got to be the best striker in the league, or up there, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. And I think again, they give us a hiding last year at home, 4-1, I think it was, in this competition. And once they get in front, very, very hard to break down. Very hard working side. Then again, Tunbridge are exactly the same. If you get in front against Tunbridge, Steve sets his teams up where he don't go gun ho. He knows if you go 1-0 up after 10 minutes, he sits in, regroups, and then they go again. And you always, whenever we've played them, they've always been tight games. And like I said, Steve will take his side there tomorrow, and he'll be patient. And he'll frustrate Dorking, and I can see Tunbridge coming away with a result.
Yeah, I fancy Tunbridge.
Okay. Dave,
I'm going to go 2-1.
Dorking for me.
So Paul's going 2-1 to
2-1 Tunbridge.
2-1 to Tunbridge.
I'm going to go with Paul.
Sorry, Glenn, missed
2-1.
that.
I'm going to go 2-1.
Tunbridge.
Yeah, I am.
Dean?
I'll go 2-1 Dorking.
And that's what I've done, 2-1 Dorking as well. Yeah. For me, I hope not.
Obviously, no. Dave,
Well, I'm hoping not for Reedy's sake, because I'd like to see him go on, but there we go. I'd like to see him at Averley, but there we go. I don't think that's going to happen. I suppose one thing we should be talking about, and I suppose, as we record this, we're talking, 50 minutes away from the probably one of the biggest games Haringey Borough have ever played. I mean, how do you see that going? Not for anything, right, just as a general discussion, I suppose, before we go. I mean, how do you see Haringey going up against the AFC Wimbledon? We just talked about Dorking, and Dorking only lost by the odd goal to AFC Wimbledon. Assuming that's in a county cup or whatever during this, in the last few weeks. But I mean, how do you see this? For me, I think, as I said off air earlier on, I think Haringey. I fancy Haringey to beat them, and I think like a 2-1 or whatever else. I think their pace, if they don't counteract the pace of Haringey, I think AFC Wimbledon will be shocked with what they're going to come up against.
Definitely an advantage to be at home. Obviously, Haringey on the Astro. I think that'll help them on the night. Obviously, I've got loads of mates who play for Haringey, and it's great from where the club have come over the last few years and stuff. Obviously, it's going to be a big money maker for them, and hopefully there will be definitely be a big crowd down there tonight.
Yeah. I just look at Haringey and they play. They don't worry about the opposition. They always play a very open and play on the front foot, and I think that might be their undoing if they try to do that tonight. If you want the truth, I think Wimbledon are a big pro side. Coming down there, I think they'll do a professional job, and I hope that it doesn't. They don't open up too much Haringey. But look, what a great job they've done there. Fantastic. Lovely place to go now. The pitch, plastic pitch, and from where they've come from. I think the first season in the North they really struggled to start, but they've built, and what a fantastic job they've done down there. And I'd love nothing more for them to win tonight. I just don't know if they can go and approach the game how they would normally do it.
Well, at least they're the only club in that area that's got a ground.
I think as managers, sorry.
Go on, Glenn. Go on.
But I think as managers, we want to stay in the game for the first 20. And if they can stay in for the first 20, 25, will Wimbledon get frustrated? Just seen it so many times in the past. But I'm with Paul. I think AFC Wimbledon have too much for them. Professional outfit. Haringey I think will enjoy the evening, but I think AFC Wimbledon have a little bit too much for them tonight.
They played Leyton Orient last year as well, Haringey, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, so they've had sort of a bit of a taste of a big crowd and a professional outfit and all that. Maybe that might help them. Hopefully it does.
Well, yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least they have, Haringey in that sort of area, the only side have actually got a home at the minute as well.
I support QPR, mate, so I can't really talk.
But I just think it's going to be time. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if they get a camera on Aki tonight, because I don't know if you saw when they got through the last round, I don't know what he was doing, but some got the darts behind the back of the goal when they actually got through, and I think he's a great character. He's been on the show, on the Isthmian show a few times, and he speaks from his heart, and he's a real good. One of these ones, I suppose, that we spoke about earlier on. He's a supporter chairman. Do you know what I mean? He's one of those ones that joins the crowd, don't go up in the boardroom. He's there with the supporters behind the back of the goal. A bit like Terry at Brighton C and a few of the others. So I think he deserves all this success as well.
Yeah, best type of chairman. Then make their supporters, they understand it, and they're not so knee jerk. And listen, I wish them all the best. And I really, really do hope that they pull a shock out tonight. I just don't know if I see it.
We'll see next week. Well, listen, guys, a massive thank you to you all, joining us tonight, Paul and Dean and Glenn for the first time, and we'll let you go to sit down and enjoy it. I'm assuming you three guys are going to be sitting down watching it. But we'll let you go so you can sit and watch it.
What you do, though, Dave? Who's top of the league?
Oh yeah, do you want to know? Yeah, so we'll say this then. So we'll let
me and Glenn, didn't we, for just doing it?
Yeah, so what we'll do is, so as there's points on the board not been used so far, we'll give them both the same amount of points. So Glenn and Dean on 8, I'm on 10, and you're on 13, sir. So you're 3 points clear. Huh?
Oh dear.
3 points clear, but we'll soon
You might be able to catch me.
We'll soon reel him in. We'll reel him in. But listen, guys, it's been so far we've done 2 shows, and doing this, and I know Glenn and Dean, you joined us for the first time, but a massive thank you to everybody out there for watching us. We got a heck of a lot more people watching the show the first week than I was expecting. Over 1,000 people watching it alone on Facebook. Last week, nearly 1,200 people watching it on Facebook. So I really, really do appreciate and hope you're enjoying this new style show on a Friday evening. And I'm enjoying doing it. I hope Paul is as well, and the 2 guys have enjoyed it tonight as well. And we'll be back next week. We'll get the guys to pick some matches for next week, and then say we'll be back next week. But guys, Paul, Dean, Glenn, massive thank you for joining us tonight. Until next week, good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.